Thank you so much, Malcolm, for giving us your platform. Followers of Malcolm, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for listening to us. This is a Kenyan diaspora. This is a Kenyan actually issue. It's only that it's happening in diaspora. We are rallying and we are trying to get justice for a brother who we think or we know was wrongfully convicted. So this is the story. I'll go ahead and you guys can you can ask questions. The answers, I think me and Kare, we have the the know-how of almost everything because we are very, very in touch with the family. We have looked at a few documents. We can be able to answer your questions. So a Kenyan nurse, his name is Benson. He moved to Ohio State to work as a nurse in 2024 January. So he's been working in this specific hospital for around 10 months before the day of the incident. So on 27th of November, he was working in the room with a nurse assistant. So they were taking care of a patient here and there. And it happened that this nurse was moving backwards and then his elbow hit the breast of the nurse assistant, who's a white female colleague. So the guy, who is Benson, was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were behind me when I was backing up. I'm sorry. Did I hurt you?" So the lady was like, "No," and she left the room for a while. So, it's normal to actually run into a door. Sorry? No, go on. It's normal to run into a door. It's normal to, it's a normal incident or accident that you were turning around and then you hit someone with an elbow. So what this Benson didn't know that when this lady left the room, she actually went to call a few supervisors and told them that the nurse I'm working with tonight has sexually harassed me, has touched my breasts in the room. Mind you, we don't have CCTVs in the room. Most hospitals actually don't have CCTVs in the room. So let's leave that aside. So the following morning, it was that incident happened at midnight. So the lady left the room, called a few people. In the morning, Benson was called by the nursing manager, and he was asked, "What happened between you and the nurse assistant?" Let's say the nurse assistant's name is maybe Mary. "What happened between you and Mary?" He said there was nothing that happened between me and Mary. We worked fine. And the manager said, "Mary is accusing you of touching her breast and sexually harassing her. And so, yeah, we want you to write an incident report of what actually happened." So he tried to explain that I didn't know she was standing behind me when I was moving around the room and I backed into her. I know I hit her left breast with my elbow. I did apologize. And so that's what happened. He was told, write whatever you're saying, write it in an incident report. So he wrote it in an incident report. Kidogo kidogo, the HR is here with a few documents. The documents were compulsory leave. So the HR department wanted to send Benson on a compulsory leave so that he can pave way for investigations. So the guy was like, "What do you mean you want to send me home on a compulsory leave? I did not do anything. Mimi siku muguza breast zake venye anasema. So I'm not going to sign any document. I'm coming to work. I am not going to sign any document." So he left the office and they went home. He told himself, "You know what? I can just quit this job. I don't have to be wrongfully accused. I don't have to deal with all this shenanigans. I can just quit my job." So he wrote a resignation letter to the hospital, to the HR. The HR received it and said, "We're not going to have you take 2 weeks notice." Most of the time we give 2 weeks notice. So the HR said, "You're going to proceed to leaving the hospital immediately. Effective, your notice is effective today." So Benson did not think it was a big thing. Akasema, simi nitasaka tu job ingine, kwani ni nini? Jumona mtu aseme nimemguza na mimi sikumguza. Continued with his life. The same night, kiwa ametulia saa 8 usiku, makarau kwa mlango, kong. "Oh, we are here to look for one Benson. You're being accused by your colleague Mary because you sexually harassed her. We want you to come down with us." So they went down to the police station or whatever for cross-examination. He spent Thanksgiving there, 27, 28, and then he came home 29. So they locked him up for 2 days as they were trying to know what happened. They took his phones. They were trying to get evidence if there is any sexual advances that he had made through text to this lady and all that. So they didn't find anything. But anyway, they gave him the phones like 3 months later, which was like last week. But they locked him up for 2 days. So within those 2 days, he tried to look for a lawyer. He hired a criminal lawyer with a few dollars that he had saved up. The criminal lawyer was able to get him out on a 5,000 bond. So they paid 5,000 and he got out. He got his freedom for a while. So he appeared in court around January 25th-ish. So the judge, he appeared before the judge, but the criminal lawyer had told him, you know what? It's either you take a plea or you go to jail for 60 days. And this guy had never gotten a job. From 27th, he kept on applying for the job. From November, he didn't get any job. So he was so scared to go to jail for another 2 months because his wife is not earning even $20. He's earning merely he's the main breadwinner. The wife just works as a nurse assistant, and it was now becoming so much financial burden in the house. So the guy was like, okay, so you mean if I say I did it or I take a plea, I'm gonna only get a probation? He was told, yeah. The lawyer told him, yeah. So he took a plea, signed documents, took a plea, and got 2 years probation. So he was supposed to report to a probation officer every 10 days. He's supposed to do a few mandatory classes about sexual boundaries and all those, and then of course he'll be rehabilitated into the community after that. So Benson thought, okay, you too, that's fine, as long as this story is life yangu. All right. So fast forward, the hospitals sent another case against him. They said Benson is here on a 3-year contract. He has not finished his contract. He has resigned from the hospital. We want him deported because he came as a result of our visa initiative. So he's not been able to meet his end bargain of the contract. So Benson went into his pocket, got another immigration lawyer that had to stop the injunction of having him being deported. So fast forward, ameendelea to apply jobs. He's trying to apply for jobs. He's not getting jobs. So one job reply is what actually made him realize there's something wrong. They wrote to him, they told him, oh, we regret you have very good skills and good education background and everything, but your background check is not okay for us to give you a job. That's when he reached out to the immigration office and said, oh, what happened? Is anything wrong with my license? But what they found out is that he's been listed as a sex offender. That is the reason why he cannot get a job. Okay. So fast forward to part of this month, his apartment office called him and told him, we cannot no longer have you stay in our apartment because you are a predator. We can no longer have you stay here because we have women and children around this compound, around this apartment, and we can no longer, So they gave him an eviction notice, which is due on 27th of this month. Yes. So on 27th of this month, Ben is supposed to leave the apartment and go to a place where we don't know. Until today, we don't know where he's going to go to. So he has tried to apply for an apartment. Meanwhile, his wife has been working as a nurse assistant once in a while, but because they have a 3-year-old. If you understand, in America, there's no reason to go work as a nurse assistant and still get a nanny or take a child to daycare. It doesn't add up financially. So now she had to take over. Ben has been staying at home to take care of the children, the 3-year-old and the 7-year-old, as the wife tries to work doubles and triples, whatever they call it, so that she can be able to afford rent. It's been so hard on them. Until 2 days ago, Ben had never told anybody about this issue. He was battling this issue as a man, as we all do, because when something happens to me, I try to take care of it myself. He did not put his business out there until 2 days ago when he shared with a friend who called me and said, this friend or this guy is drowning and we need to show up. So Malcolm, we knew this thing Yesterday morning, 7 a.m., I was actually the third person to know about it. And I think Kari was the fourth person to know about it. So all we have done since yesterday morning is to call a few people, call lawyers, call people, try and reach as many people as possible. We have a GoFundMe. We have tried to raise money. We've tried to create WhatsApp groups. We have tried to reach out to people like you who have a big following. We were on Kari's live yesterday, Sauti Nagwara, because we started her live from 8:30 to 5:30 in the morning. We were able to raise a few dollars because nobody was expecting to come and contribute. People came into the live for normal loves and shares, but we had a different initiative. I'm so glad that the Kenyans stayed on the platform. They continued, sending words of advice, and we were able to raise a few dollars. So we have this initiative for the week because what we want, number one, is to make sure that Ben is able to feed every day. Number two, we want him to have a place to stay. People in Ohio, please, we don't know what we are gonna do because this guy they cannot rent a house when you have such a thing on your background check. You can't get a house. Number two, the wife does not have enough history to rent. And number three, this guy cannot rent near a school. He cannot rent near a church because he's a sex offender. And for you to rent a house, the person who is renting you has to notify the whole jurisdiction or the whole area that there's a sex offender in place. It is so bad. I know that my Kenyan people, you might not understand this. Even us who have moved to the US, we are trying to understand these other people's law. Initially, we stay here. We want to do right, but sometimes you just fall into this trap, and we are also trying to understand. It is shocking. It's been hurtful, and we feel like this guy was never listened. He got a wrong lawyer. He should never have taken a plea. He didn't know. 10 months into Kenya, into this country, I didn't know anything. Right now, if I I don't know anything legal if something happens to me. And as much as I wanted to ask him, why did you not tell us? He didn't know how bad this thing is. Venye ameanza kuevictiwa, venye amepewa eviction notice na amekosa job, ameambiwa hii ndio kitu iko kwa faili yako, ndio imemfungua macho. And I don't want him to go into depression. I've been we've called a million people. We've been on phone the whole day to different people. All we are trying to do is get the $5, the $10. We have we know all that, but we cannot let our brother go to jail. Not even go to jail. We don't want him to be hopeless and homeless because he can never get a job in America. So that is it. That is the case we are facing. We just want him to get a good lawyer so that we can appeal and say he was wrongfully convicted. He did not know what he's saying yes to, so that we can get those bad records cleared so that he can have a normal life. Otherwise, he will never even get an apartment. He will never buy property. It is just a mess.
Yeah. Wow, that is heavy. Even heavy. Like it's heavy. Ukiona mimi hapa nimekwambia it's heavy.
Weambia machurches na manyonyes walete kitu sasa.
Very heavy. I don't even know. Yani ikitu ni ngumu.
Like we like one thing we as Kenyans as a community kama the Spanish community, they have their own set of lawyers like what already hapo. So I might think before that with anything we need to like have I think kuna lawyers among us in the United States. We're supposed to know these people. Hata kama kutakuwa na very good group of lawyers when you converge, like we are Kenyan lawyers, anything that's right. Because now these communities like the Indian, the Spanish, the Nigerians, Liberians, these people have lawyers like wako tu ready. Pia unajua wanafanya nini? They pay like a subscription fee like $10 every month for this law firm. So if anything happens, there's a lawyer for ground. Unaona? So na feel pia sisi wa Kenya nafaa tuko kitu kama hiyo. Pia sisi ni as a tracker. Unajua tracking iko na shida mingi sana. So
I know.
There's a place where we pay like $20 every month in case nipatikane kwa noma, there is a lawyer mwenye atakuja kupresent. Juna mimi Kenya najua anything can happen to anyone hapa in the USA. Anything can happen to you. Usaisema ati when he saint. Hakuna mtu saint. Okay, hatuwezi anza kusema ati we don't know the story of huyo mzungu. Hata tuwezi kujua story hiyo mzungu.
Bas, that is the point.
We cannot hata mtu akiuliza hapa what is the other story, alimshika ama kumshika, we don't want to know that.
Yeah.
You have to rescue your brother. Unaona, we have to rescue your brother. You say hapa tumepatikana na situations hapa, especially zile job yenye it's you na watu wengi wazungu wamekuzunguka
huko kwanza pali huko ni Wangoso pekee. So usisahau huyu msemaji kwa matiti ni Mngoso. Lawyer wake ni Mngoso, manager ni Mngoso. Like walienda kotiko, ilikuwa tu yeye na bibi yake ndio weusi, kwa hiyo the whole courtroom.
Hapo wezi toboa hapo.
Hata lawyer alimwambia huyo lawyer immigration alimwambia wish hata before ungekubalia plead at least hata ungeenda tu ka city ka Cincinnati ama Columbus. Pali kuna minority. You know, kuna watu wako yani alikaa tu huko Ocha.
Okay, unajua sasa shida ni ile contract umesign umetumwa huko haujui.
Sasa alitumwa huko na kaka huko.
Umetumwa huko Batavia. So Batavia hayo mimi nakujua manze. Huko hivyo si jo.
Sasa alikuwa anaambia sasa huko wewe ndio minority, wewe hata labda ndio msee huko upali huko ni ndio black, kwa hiyo maybe you say 5,000 maybe ni wa black watano.
And of course walikuwa na
hiyo siku na watu wa black watatu
wamtumia kama example.
Bas walitumia kama example.
Kisi ya kucheka haki.
Unajua mpaka huyo dem alimwambia huyo dem alisema juu umequit nitakufundi I'll make sure nimesaidia usiende place nyingine, another place of work kwenda kufanya watu hivyo. That's why alimsu.
Well, okay, Kenya tunaweza do ni of course hakukuwa na the know-how of how to go about it. Unajua okay, si watu wote wanajua like how to unaona. Kuna laws za kila mahali, kuna laws za hospitali, kuna laws za tracking, kuna laws kwa every industry. Maybe saa zingine tunaweza sema tunakuanga like okay, atutilianangi manani kitu zingine of which we're supposed to. Kitu kama hii ni ile like a lesson to all of us that lazima tukue rada manze na wazungu. Hapo kwa comments kuna semaji. So I think
some comments, guys. I see most of you asking about where you can contribute. Thank you so much. That makes me happy because I know with all these positive attitudes that I see here, we're going to raise something for our brother to be free. Finally, it's a long stretch, but we are ready to walk. That's what I see. There are people requesting to come up. I don't know how much time the owner of the platform has.
Tuko kwa platform ya mtu, he has to guide us on what to do.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up people that wanajua this case. Like,
sasa wanatuambia tusome comments. Yes, we are reading the comment, but in the platform ya Malcolm, we go as by this is his house. Tunaenda na rules zake, guys. Hata msituandikie na caps mnatusomea kwani. Wewe babes.
People saying up Karo aja request, so she hasn't requested yet, so
akona hiyo shida kwa sababu unajua sasa kwanza wajakaa huko sana, hawana rental history. So hata wife akijaribu kutafuta keja hawezi pewa, unaona.
So I think Karo knows the story. Alimpost Karo a request kama nakakupanda, sijaona kama ame request. So how are you guys contributing? Mlikuwa nani, what platform?
Tuko na bibi yake akona Zelle. So anyway, after hii story yote alichange simu, juu alijaribu ku get away from all this, akachange simu, so hana cash app.
Okay.
So mimi nilikuwa nimeka cash app yangu, wanakamkuniona Sato, nikamwambia kata nimtolee do yote nimpatie ikiwa cash ama ni Zelle yote kwa bibi yake, that is fine. So mimi niliweka cash app yangu which is my name $Kare Wangare. Zel ya huyo dem ya bibi yake niko nayo Zel. Alafu luxury perfumes wa Dubai alikuwa ameweka namba yake ya M-Pesa for anybody that wants to contribute from out of the country. Na kuna watu walikuwa natumia hizo majina za bibi yake kutuma na Western Union na manini na zaitwaje hizo vitu kwa sababu wako countries zingine.
Wako tuma na Western Union ama hizo channels zingine.
Hizo channels hizo wenye wana Zelle na Cash App.
Yeah, so we had enough need to accommodate everybody. So with your permission, probably the people who are on the other live, they can start putting those numbers here. And yeah, when you are on Zelle, when you're on Cash App, all of you guys are catered for. So
yeah.
You have to listen to.
Alafu Malcolm, si utuambie nini? Kama unajua lawyers, like hizi vitu, like tuna need to anybody that can come on board na kusaidia hii kitu. If anybody knows lawyers, somebody should know somebody, you know, that kind of thing. Wale wase wako kwa hii washapitia tu hii ngori wa Kenya. Wale wa Kenya washapitia hii ngori wanasema atafute lawyer Mngoso dem. Ubi successful kwa hii story. Wale sasa walikuwa kwa platform yangu wameenda through these challenges.
So like kama Ohio, see, around Cincinnati, around Dayton is a big, you know.
Evaluation started back in 2024, date 27 usiku. Nilienda night as usual, although there were some challenges zilikuwa zimenihapenia kwa kazi, like mistreatment, hivyo kunimwa benefit, challenges here and there. I used to report them to my supervisor, they were not solved. And then I decided wacha nivumilie. Hata Karo nilikuwa namwambia chenye napitia, hata ndio alikuwa niambia wewe ng'ang'ana usitoke hiyo hosi bila experience, because I was to leave in January. So even this day naenda night, ile department nilitumwa nilikuwa nimekataa kwenda. Huyu supervisor nikamwambia ulisema nisiende hiyo department sababu ndio napata shida mingi huko. Na sasa hapa unaniambia niende hiyo department. Nikamwambia sitaenda. I will rather call off the night. Akaniambia let us see what we can do. Akachukua mtu mwingine wa department yangu akampeleka huko. Mimi nikabaki hii yangu na nikakubali nikaenda. Vile nilienda usiku, kitu ya kwanza simu yangu ilivunjwa, kitu sijui, na mtu mwenye nilikuwa na issue na yeye hiyo department nilikuwa napata shida. My supervisor alikuwa ananiambia yuko night, na kumbe alikuwa night. Nilimuona akikuja hiyo department yetu. And then I had an admission, nikaendea mgonjwa wa emergency department. Nikakuja mweka kwa lift, mimi na Nasid. Incident ya kwanza, Nasid alikwama kwa lift ni ndogo, haina space mingi ukiingiza kitanda, so nilikuwa pande ya kichwa ya mgonjwa, and this lady alikuwa the other side ya miguu. So vile lift nataka kuanza kupanda, alikuwa amesqueezewa na side ya kitanda chini, the handle, na yeye alikuwa sandwich between mlango ya lift na hii kitanda. Actually it was patient concern, aliniambia mwanzako might get hurt akiwa hapo. Nikatoka na huku nilikuwa kwa kichwa ya patient, na patient could see everything, nikamtoa. Tukaenda na tukafikisha mgonjwa, tukaadmit mgonjwa kawaida. And then nikaendelea, naingia room natoka. Alikuwa anahitaji sita 24/7 sababu alikuwa suicidal patient. Ikifika masaa ya asubuhi 5 hapo hivyo, huyu mgonjwa nilikuwa nataka nione huyu dem chenye anachata after every 15 minutes. Alikuwa na kompyuta hii ya kusukuma na ilikuwa karibu na kiti yenye alikuwa ameangalia, na ideally kuna kompyuta ipo kwa wall kwa room ya kila patient. So hiyo ndio nilikuwa natumia, yeye anatumia hii for her convenience. So vile nilienda kwa hii kompyuta nione chenye tu anachata hapo, tukiongea normally. Tukaongea vile mtu anasimama na poster yake. ndio tu nilikuwa nimesimama. Kwenda kurudisha mkono nyuma nikamguza the left breast. Na nikamwambia pole na story ikaishia hapo. Mimi asubuhi sababu nilikuwa nakaa nursing station peke yangu, although this night there was a guy who was newly employed, alikuwa hiyo side nilikuwa. Tukakuwa kuna kitu data tulikuwa tunataka kuenter, but mwenye angetuelezea vizuri ni charge. Tukaenda on the other side ya nursing station cause ni mbili. Kwenda nikasikia the manager wa PCU akipigia charge na so usiku akimwambia make sure Ben hajaenda kama hatujaonana. So hata hakunidi kuniambia sababu nishafikia akipigiwa simu. So nikiwa hapo nikaanza kuhand over report ya asubuhi na akakuwa huyu manager akakuwa amefika mapema. So vile alifika tukaenda kwa ofisi. Akaniambia hata nilikuwa nadhani ni story, nilikuwa nimekataa kwenda night usiku imeleta shida. Akaniambia this and this happened, room hii ulikuwa 304. Na sababu mimi tulikuwa tumemalizana na demu na nikamwambia pole na tukaendelea kuongea na nikaona kama hakuna kitu. Mimi nikamwambia hapana, nikaambiwa ni sign makaratasi ilikuwa hapo. Na sababu nilikuwa na issue mingi azikuwa isobiwa hospitali, nikapiga hata this time round I might not get justice. Mimi nikamwambia kuliko ni sign hizi vitu au la resign. Mimi kuresign usiku ndio nilikujua. Kwenda ndani nikakaa 2 days and then public defender akanitisha bank statement. Wakasema as nurses we make money, so hawezi ni represent, wana represent watu wenye wako extremely poor. So process yangu ya kutafuta sasa lawyer ikaanza hapo. Nikatafuta huyo lawyer wa criminal na yeye akaniambia before aendelee na kesi niende kwanza akaniuliza status yangu ya immigration. Nikamwambia niko na green card, niko permanent resident. Akaniambia before tuende mbali sana, mimi I don't deal with immigration, enda kwa lawyer wa immigration. Nikaenda akaangalia hiyo mambo tukamalizana na yeye, nikarudi kwa immigration kwa criminal. Sasa tukaanzana na yeye mambo ya kunirepresent. Along the way akaniambia if you plead bali kitu inaitwa plead, utamake sure hujaenda jail, utaenda tu probation na uende community service. Na mimi sababu nilikuwa naona pia bila kesi inaendelea bado itaendelea kutukula pesa, na si ati hiyo nilikuwa financially stable kwa hata sijakaa sana huku. Na kuna gari nilikuwa nimenunua, so sikuwa na saving. Nikaona kama hii deal ya plea ni kama it's a win-win situation. Although ni kama hakunifanish na kila kitu ya plea. So mambo mingi hata hii ya kuregister as a sex offender nilikuwa najua hiyo siku nasomewa na judge hiyo siku. Sasa along the way sikuwa najua magnitude ya hii kitu kwa register as a sex offender. Cause pia nilikuja kurealize lazima pia nitafute lawyer wana defend professional licenses. Na pia kina Karo hapo walinisaidia, walikam in handy. So sahi lawyer wa professional license asha notify my board of nursing. And then sasa vile nikaanza apply kazi, naona napata two regrets. Ndio sasa with time nilikuja kurealize the magnitude ya hii kitu. So ndio sasa nikafikiria hiyo next plan ya kuappeal.
Okay. Ben, so before to continue, before you resign, uliandika any incident report?
Hapana, si kuandika any incident report. And then hapo kwa kuresign niliandika mimi reason zenye zimefanya ni resign, cause kama kitu ya kwanza nilikuwa nadhani ukiwa employee wa facility na sikuwa na agency, nilikuwa on direct hire terms, I ought to have been given benefit just like any other person, but to my shock with time I came to realize that sikuwa na medical cover. So ilikuwa issue moja, hiyo time yote nimefanya hapo sikuwa na cover. And then this guy, my supervisor, ni yeye alikuwa anafaa akuwe my onboarding. And then kuna some few challenges pia nilikuwa nazo. Hiyo department inaitwa medical surgical. Moja niliwahi pewa wagonjwa very difficult, na according to me naonanga wagonjwa hawakuanga distributed fairly, because I tend to feel ni mimi nilikuwa na wagonjwa wengine wengi na nilikuwa na sita some other na sita in the head break. So vile pia nilijibizana na huyo charge wa hiyo department, bado naona ni kama ilikuwa hicho, kwa hata nilijiport kwa hiyo supervisor wangu, hakuna kitu ilifanyika. Another incident too with the same person, the same department. Naenda break usiku na a fellow Filipino nurse wagonjwa wangu, nikirudi naambiwa hand over your patient and get out of this place. Ilikuwa tu saa 10. Ambao sikuwa nataka mambo mingi, ndio nilifanya hata siku mbili. Morning as usual nikaenda kwa my supervisor nikamwambia the only solution alinipea ni to avoid your department, na nikamwambia sasa na avoid hapo, na nyinyi sometimes nasemanga PCU nurses ni wengi waende hii department ingine. So hizo issue vile niliziandika, I tend to feel vile aliona hizi issues inamhusu yeye mwenyewe, na nicho zinaweza maybe zinaweza kuwa questionable, na ni kitu anaweza kuwa question, maybe nadhani ndio waliona tu advice na sasa
well, also Ben
huyu msichana ni kama kwa anataka kupress charges.
Okay, of course benye the way you're saying, najua hiyo ni kitu basi that hospital liko ime orchestrate towards you, kwa sababu one thing leads to another to another to another. And of course pia like you maybe ulikuwa misinformed na the decisions that ulichukua. I mean ishafanyika, but ningependa nisikie what people are saying kwa sababu pia like Karo ametupatia like a slightly different version, but I mean it's fine because I feel that you still need kusikia our advice, unaona. Yeah, despite all that, wacha nisikie B unasema